The movie opens in 1983 in Los Alamos, New Mexico, as a convoy of police cars escorts an ambulance to Los Alamos Memorial Hospital. Inside, they are transporting a severely injured 50-year-old man with acid burns covering his face. A detective attempts to question him, asking for his identity and whether he is involved in a satanic cult, but the man remains silent. Moments later, a nurse calls the detective to the front desk to take a phone call. The receptionist reports that the man's daughter is in the lobby, asking about him. Suddenly, the nurse hears an alarming change in the beeping of his respirator and rushes back to his room, only to scream in horror. The man has jumped from the 10th floor window to his death, leaving behind a single note that reads, "I'm sorry, Abby." 2 weeks earlier, 12-year-old Owen sits alone in the snow-covered courtyard of his apartment complex, quietly singing to himself, until his mother calls him in for dinner. His parents are in the middle of a bitter divorce, leaving Owen often isolated, eating alone and entertaining himself in his room. One evening, he notices a girl around his age moving into the apartment next door with a man who appears to be her father. Strangely, despite the cold, she is barefoot. The next day at school, Owen is once again tormented by 3 older bullies, Kenny, Mark, and Donald. Too afraid to fight back, he endures their abuse, even when they give him a wedgie, causing him to wet himself. That evening, as he sits outside, practicing imaginary knife attacks on his tormentors, he notices the new girl, Abby, watching him. She immediately warns him that they cannot be friends, keeping her distance. Shortly after, her father passes through the courtyard. Unbeknownst to Owen, this man is not Abby's father. He is her human servant, tasked with obtaining fresh blood for her. Abby is a vampire, and it is his job to hunt and kill for her. On his first kill after moving into the new apartment, he targets a woman at an all-night supermarket, breaking into her car. At a railroad crossing, he knocks her out, takes her into the woods, strings her up, and slashes her throat wide open. But as he tries to collect the blood, he stumbles in the snow, spilling it. As a result, Abby is left hungry and growing impatient. The following evening, Owen and Abby cross paths again in the courtyard. Once more, he notices that she isn't wearing shoes. This time, her stomach is growling loudly, and she has a foul odor. Despite this, Owen shares his Rubik's Cube with her and demonstrates how to solve it. After he heads inside, Abby goes out to hunt. She waits beneath a bridge, hiding in the shadows. When a man passes by, she pretends to fall and calls out for help. The man picks her up, but Abby suddenly latches onto him, sinking her teeth into his neck. When she returns home and confesses what she has done, father is furious but dutifully covers up the crime by disposing of the body in a small lake. The next morning, as Owen leaves for school, he finds his Rubik's Cube in the courtyard, completely solved. That evening, Abby is waiting for him, now much friendlier. She explains how she figured out the puzzle and, noticeably, she no longer smells bad. However, when Owen asks about her birthday, she doesn't remember. Since she never celebrates or receives presents, Owen decides to give her the Rubik's Cube as a gift. The following day, while the class watches Romeo and Juliet, Owen is busy copying Morse code symbols instead. Later, in the school restroom, he is confronted by the bullies. Kenny demands to see what he was working on, but when Owen refuses, Kenny strikes him across the face with a metal antenna, leaving a gash on his left cheek. That night at dinner, Owen lies to his inattentive mother, claiming he fell during recess. After dinner, he meets Abby in the courtyard as usual. When she notices the bandage on his cheek, Owen tells her the truth about what happened. Abby advises him to fight back, hit them hard, and they'll stop. If they don't, she promises to help him. Owen then shares the Morse code he copied in class. That night, the two tap messages to each other through the wall that separates their apartments. The next day, Owen takes Abby to an arcade, where they play Pac-Man and offers her a now and later candy. At first, she declines but then decides to try one. Moments later, she becomes violently ill, vomiting on the sidewalk. Seeing her distress, Owen hugs her. As Owen and Abby grow closer, father begins to feel jealous. Determined to secure blood for Abby, he devises a new plan, hiding in the back seat of a student's car and attacking him while driving. However, his plan is disrupted when Jet's friend, Greg, unexpectedly asks for a ride. When Jet stops for gas, Father seizes the opportunity and attacks Greg, then speeds away in the stolen car. A struggle ensues, causing the car to veer off the road and overturn, killing Greg and pinning Father beneath the wreckage. Trapped and realizing that the police will soon find him, he pours acid on his face to prevent identification. When Abby learns that he has been taken to the hospital, she goes to the reception desk, asking for her father. The receptionist directs her to the 10th floor. Instead of taking the elevator, Abby climbs the building's exterior, reaching his window. Inside, Father lets her in and, knowing his time is up, offers his neck to her. Abby drinks his blood, and moments later, Father throws himself out the window, falling to his death. Later that night, Abby returns to the apartment building and knocks on Owen's bedroom window, asking to come in. Half asleep, he tells her she doesn't need permission. She removes her blood-stained clothes and crawls into bed beside him. The next morning, before leaving, Abby writes Owen a note: "I must be gone and live, or stay and die." One afternoon, during a school outing to a frozen pond for ice skating, Owen once again faces the bullies. This time, they warn him that they plan to push him into an ice hole. Instead of cowering, Owen fights back, striking Kenin across the head with a large stick, making his ear bleed. Meanwhile, other students notice something alarming beneath the ice: a frozen body. The police are called, and the corpse is carefully cut free from the ice. Later that afternoon after school, Owen takes Abby to a hidden room in the basement of their apartment building. When she asks why he brought her there, Owen pulls out a knife, cuts his finger, and suggests they mix their blood. The sight of his blood dripping onto the floor triggers Abby's hunger, now uncontrollable since Father is no longer around to provide for her. She collapses to the ground and instinctively laps up Owen's blood. In that moment, she fully transforms into her true vampire form. Realizing the danger, Abby hisses at Owen, telling him to leave. When he hesitates, she runs off herself. Overcome with bloodlust, Abby attacks the first person she encounters, Virginia. However, Virginia's boyfriend, Larry, manages to kick Abby off before she can kill her. Unfortunately, while Larry saves Virginia's life, it also means she is now infected. The next morning, after receiving 6 pints of transfused blood, Virginia begins to change. She wakes up, starts drinking the blood from her own arm, and when a nurse opens the curtains, she bursts into flames. Despite his timid nature, Owen is no fool. He pieces everything together and confronts Abby at her apartment that evening. When he asks if she is a vampire, she doesn't seem to recognize the word, simply replying, "I need blood to live." When Owen presses her on her real age, she admits, as before, that she is 12, but has been 12 for a very long time. He then asks about Father, and Abby confirms that he was never really her father. Looking around, Owen finds an old photograph of Abby and Father, but in the picture, Father is just a boy around Owen's age, while Abby looks exactly the same. Disturbed by the realization, Owen retreats to his own apartment. Later that evening, as he prepares to eat the pot pie his mother left for him, Abby knocks on his door. She asks to be invited in, but Owen hesitates. Curious, he asks what would happen if he didn't invite her. Without a word, Abby steps inside uninvited. Her skin begins to bleed, and she trembles in agony. Alarmed, Owen quickly invites her in, and she recovers, then embraces her. After taking a shower, Abby changes into one of Owen's mother's old dresses, but when his mother unexpectedly arrives home, Abby swiftly escapes, climbing out the window and leaping across to her own apartment. The next morning, Owen finds a note from Abby asking if he wants to spend time with her that evening. Meanwhile, based on Larry's description of Virginia's attacker, the detective traces Abby to her apartment. He breaks in and discovers her asleep in the bathtub. Unable to see in the dark, he tears open the foil covering the windows. As sunlight floods the room, Abby's skin begins to crack and burn. Owen, who had been waiting in the apartment for Abby to wake up, screams no. A distraction that gives Abby just enough time to lunge at the detective and feed on his blood. As he lies dying, the detective weakly reaches out to Owen for help, but Owen shuts the bathroom door, leaving him to his fate. After feeding, Abby tells Owen that she has to leave before more police come looking for the missing detective. That night, Owen watches from his window as Abby gets into a taxi and leaves town. With Abby gone, Owen returns to his usual, monotonous routine of school and home. One evening, he arrives at the gym for his swimming lesson with Mr. Zoric. As he changes into his swimsuit and begins his lesson, the bullies set a fire in the dumpster outside, forcing Mr. Zoric to leave the pool area to deal with it. Once he steps outside, they lock him out and return to the pool, where Kenny's older brother, Jimmy, has already kicked everyone else out. Jimmy corners Owen and gives him a cruel ultimatum: either stay underwater for 3 minutes or have one of his eyes gouged out as payback for Kenny's ear. Without waiting for a response, Jimmy forces Owen underwater. A minute passes. Suddenly, chaos erupts in the gym. From beneath the water, Owen hears the panicked screams of the bullies. Then, Jimmy's severed head plunges into the pool, followed by more dismembered body parts. As Owen nearly drowns, he struggles to the surface and crawls out of the water. When he looks up, he sees Abby's blood-soaked feet standing beside him. She had returned, crashing through the skylight and slaughtering all 4 bullies in mere seconds to protect him. Later, Owen sits on a train, heading toward an unknown destination. A large trunk sits in front of him. From inside, there is a rhythmic tapping. Owen taps back in Morse code before taking a bite of a now and later candy. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.